In this video, here's what we'll cover: what burnout really is, burnout versus depression, why professional culture fuels it, recognizing the signs, what real recovery looks like. Have you ever reached a point where getting out of bed to go to a job you once loved feels almost impossible? If so, you are not alone. Across Australia, burnout is quietly reshaping the lives of nurses, teachers, lawyers, managers, parents, and people running their own businesses. It does not announce itself loudly. It creeps in through cancelled plans with friends, a shorter fuse at home, and a growing sense that nothing you do makes a difference anymore. I see this pattern regularly in my practice. People arrive exhausted, not from one bad week, but from months of giving everything they had and getting nothing back. And the hardest part, most of them have spent that whole time telling themselves they should be fine. Let me start with what burnout actually is. A few years ago, the World Health Organization updated its international classification of diseases to include burnout as an occupational phenomenon, and that wording matters. It is not a medical condition or a mental health disorder in its own right. The WHO describes it as a syndrome that comes from chronic workplace stress that has not been managed well. So burnout happens in the context of work. It is not a sign that something is fundamentally wrong with you as a person. The WHO points to three parts that make it up. The first is exhaustion, a deep, bone-level tiredness that a good sleep does not fix. The second is cynicism, a kind of protective distancing, where you start going through the motions with people you used to care about. And the third is a reduced sense of doing your job well, a nagging feeling that your efforts no longer matter. Now, one of the most important conversations I have with clients is the difference between burnout and depression. They can look very similar, but they are not the same thing, and treating them as the same can lead to the wrong kind of support. Burnout is tied to your work. Often your mood lifts noticeably on a weekend or a holiday. In depression, that low mood tends to stay with you, no matter the setting. With burnout, you usually still find pleasure in things away from work. In depression, that pleasure often fades across most of life. Here is why early recognition matters so much. Burnout can sit alongside depression, and if it is left unattended, it can develop into depression over time. If you are unsure which one you are facing, speaking with a qualified counselor is a sensible first step. Why does professional culture here create so much risk? Australia has a strong emphasis on productivity and on the idea that pushing through is a virtue. In many fields, from healthcare and law to education, finance, and small business, the quiet expectation is that you give more than your contracted hours, answer messages on weekends, and perform at a high level no matter what is happening at home. The pandemic year sped this up. For a lot of people, the line between home and work dissolved completely. Surveys of the Australian workforce have found high rates of burnout across many roles, especially those carrying heavy responsibility. Add the pressure of a high cost of living, long commutes across Western Sydney, and how much of our identity we tie to our careers, and burnout starts to feel almost built in. There is a painful irony here too. The people most at risk are often high achievers, the conscientious ones who set high standards and work hard to meet them. They ignore early warning signs because the same drive that makes them successful pushes them straight through fatigue. Their identity is fused with their work, so slowing down feels like failure rather than good self-care. They have often been rewarded for overwork with praise and promotions, and they find it genuinely hard to ask for help. So how do you recognize the signs? Your body often speaks first. Common physical signals include chronic fatigue that rest does not touch, frequent tension headaches, disrupted sleep, getting sick more easily, a churning stomach, and tightness in the neck, shoulders, and jaw. The emotional signs tend to follow. You might notice a flat, numb quality, where it is hard to feel much at all, resentment towards colleagues or clients, trouble concentrating on tasks that used to be simple, a shorter temper, that Sunday night dread creeping in before the week has even begun, and a heavy sense of feeling trapped, as though you cannot stay but cannot leave either. If you recognize yourself in several of these, please do not wait for a crisis. Early support makes recovery faster and more complete. And what does real recovery look like? More than a holiday, I can tell you that rest is necessary, but it is rarely enough on its own. Genuine recovery works on several layers at once. Counseling can help you unpack the patterns underneath, like perfectionism, shaky boundaries, and people pleasing. Values work helps you close the gap between how you spend your time and what truly matters to you. Breathwork and pranayama can calm an overworked nervous system. Yoga therapy and mindfulness support the body in releasing what it has been holding, and often, some practical change to workload, hours, or role. If any of this sounds familiar, I genuinely want to hear from you. At Potentials Unlimited in Bella Vista, we offer integrative burnout support for professionals, in person and through telehealth across New South Wales, with no referral needed. You can read the full guide or book an appointment using the links in the description below. Before you go, here's a quick recap of what we covered. What burnout really is. Burnout versus depression. Why professional culture fuels it. Recognizing the signs. What real recovery looks like.